I never tried to control click from a script. So,
well, what I was confused of, like, why would you activate it from? Why wouldn't you just go edit the script?
Which script?
Well, from Ditto itself.
But Ditto is not a script. Maybe it's a script, but it's an application. So
oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
it's
why
a compile. Maybe I don't know if it's done in AutoHotkey, but it's a compile application.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was an AutoHotkey script.
Okay. No, there are some clipboard history done in AutoHotkey, but not sure for Ditto.
I'm
on GitHub to check the code.
You could drag it. Oh yeah, look at the code.
So extension like .h, .ccp, I think it's C++, maybe.
Could you do like Control A or Control F and just type in .ahk?
I still share my screen, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you suggest, Tom?
Back on the main page that you were on. Yeah, the code. You could just push Control F and type in .ahk and see if it finds anything. It's much faster.
No.
Okay, so yeah,
no, it's not HK for sure. It's not HK. Just try to find what it is, but yeah, couldn't tell.
What's Ditto do? I've heard of it.
It's a clipboard history, something like what we now have with Windows 10, but with much more features and quite stable for my own use. There are some others clipboard history tools that are also popular, but I like this one.
Tom, I'm very curious because Jean and I will show our age. Do you know what a Ditto is?
A Pokemon.
What was the full term, Jean?
I couldn't tell. To me, Ditto is to reproduce, to copy, but I don't know if what you are referring to. We don't have the same references, maybe.
Okay, fair enough.
It was an old Ditto Pokemon did.
It predates Xerox copies, right? It was a Ditto something machine. I forget the exact name. It made a really light purple colored text copy of. That's what they used to use, in schools and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they haven't been around for a really long time.
I don't know the French name for that, but don't remember the name Ditto at that time. QuickIconStrip.
Constant, I don't see John's channel. I'm not sure what you mean.
Who's John?
Well, maybe he meant Jean is my guess, but
yeah.
And when you say his channel, he does have a QAP channel, but it's not under his name.
You can find that under.
Is it a question on the chat?
In the Zoom chat, or maybe he was just mentioning your screen is what I was guessing is what he was saying, but I'm not sure.
I feel like I had it somewhere. I gotta find it though.
Oh.
And I know it was a comment on one of our live things. I'll find it, hopefully.
And then other people, and I just released a video on it, have been mentioning if you're using Cipher AutoHotkey, when you open it, it comes up with this really large unable to update issue, and you can hit OK and it goes away, but you cannot
hit OK. But you cannot hit OK because the message is so large that you don't see the OK button. So you have to know that you hit Enter. That's the only way to close this window. Excuse me, Joe. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. No, it's a good point. And what was weird was the solution is you add a line of code, which I made a video on, and I'll post here in just a second, the code. But I didn't have that line of code in my version of Site, and yet I don't get the error. So I'm like, I'm not sure why mine.
It's a line probably that does the check for checks for update on a website that is now down. So that's why we got this error message. Maybe if you don't have the line, it doesn't check for update.
No, the check for update, which they didn't tell you there, is in the global properties file, because you're not supposed to mess with that, right? You go to your user properties file. I see it in my global properties file of it's set to 1, which is check for updates. And then in your user property files, you set it to 0 to say don't override that other setting. Well, I didn't have the override and it's in my other one, but I still didn't get that issue. But I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is a simple one. And actually, Dale, I reread your question after I sent the link to the video. I thought you were just saying, how do you get rid of the error? He was saying, should we move away from it? Here's a couple things. Cipher AutoHotkey it's a great solid editor, has debuggers, has a lot of great functionality. It is based on a much earlier version. So there's the overall site editor, Cipher AutoHotkey, and maybe Isaiah can correct me on how I'm saying this. It's kind of like a fork of it. It's borrowing that technology, but it's a much older version compared to the newest versions of Cite right now that are out there, right? No one has gone and updated it with the most recent.
I think it's 2014, maybe something like that.
Yeah. So maybe this will get someone to take action while they're fixing this other issue and actually update the core it's based off of.
Right.
To still get back to your question, though, Dale, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, there's no new security issues, right, because of it. It'd be more of a global question of, do you want a more up-to-date editor?
Yeah.
Is your volume, or maybe your mic's just needs
let me. Can you hear me?
That's better.
Hi, Isaiah.
Yeah, there we go. So just to chime in on that, the Scintilla control is one of the oldest controls out there, and many editors are based on that. Now, Cite was the editor that was used as an example of how to use the Scintilla controller, and there has been some spin-off like Cite for AutoHotkey and Cite for other languages as well. But even though Scintilla is actually evolving, there's still a lot of code updates on that. Cite for AutoHotkey itself, I don't think it has been updated for a long time. So that's basically the editor itself is the one that hasn't been updated. And it seems to be that the site where it was hosted made some changes, and that's unfortunate that the code itself actually looks for that particular website and now it's down.
In Isaiah, that's where we were talking about just this the other day. Is I don't know why in today's day and age, like actually the URL over my head, right? That's a pretty link redirect where at any point in time I can change, on my server where that is pointing. And had the person who had, now granted, the URL was probably under their domain. So like in my case,
right,
if I use the-Automator, I'm screwed. It wouldn't fix it.
Yes.
But if you have an endpoint that has to change, like I can point it to YouTube, I could point it to LinkedIn, I could point it wherever I want, right? And what's really cool is people wouldn't have to go update their programs, right? This could all be done on my server and negate people having to go update their downloads of Cite or whatever program.
Pretty links are just kind of dynamic variables, right? And we were discussing this, like you wouldn't make a program without variables, right? It is really good to just go ahead and have something that you just change what is pointing to without affecting the end user, and having a pretty link basically does exactly that. It's very good, actually.
I see Anamon said he had a weird idea earlier this week. Hopefully it's not too weird and you can share it.
Joe, I would like, if we have time today, that if you could talk to us about the icon maker that Elbent made.
Sure.
I think you're working on it. I would be interested in
knowing
more about that too.
It is a very nice tool, right?
Yeah, Isaiah, why don't you go ahead and download it? And I can find the link if you need me to. But
yeah, so
I referenced it in the newsletter the other day. I don't know if I have a download. So over the weekend, I had a call with Hellbent, and we were chatting and just showing stuff. And right before we went to leave, he goes, "Hey, you might like this other tool I just released, a little while ago. It's I'm working on." And he showed me, and I'm like, "Holy cow! Like this is one for me. I loved it, but I thought even for QAP, what would be really cool? What if you could quickly say, hey, I want a custom icon, but it's of something on my screen, something I want to grab real quickly and do, a heartbeat. Like we could adapt this to do it either for my scripts or for QAP or something."
Can you confirm, I'm sorry, the name of the script again? Icon maker?
QuickIcon.
I would say look in the newsletter if you have that handy.
Okay, yeah, I do.
Because there was something quick something, and I think it had a plural or something. That's what threw me when I read it. Was like it was quick icons. Or
let me see. Hold on. quick icon. Hold on, here we go. QuickIconStrip by Hellbent. I got it. Oh, so yeah. I already, let me see, hold on. Just went into a different place. And here we have the script. Let's go ahead and do this real quick.
Yeah, it's using GDI, of course, and actually, John, I hadn't had a chance to write him and ask about capturing square icons instead of the round. I'm not sure why he chose that, just other than probably just
he said somewhere that it was the need he had at the time he wrote that script, but it would make sense to, it would be fine to have the option to select square or round.
Yeah,
and to save to a file. What I just get from what it is at this time is that it produces a kind of binary code or you know, a stream of data, but how do you use it in the end? That's the part I don't get about this script at this time. As I've seen it, I look at it, but couldn't find how to create the icon file itself.
Well, and I'll tell you, when I looked at this before, there was, you know, the references to the H-bit map, and then there was another one, and it was very confusing. And that's where on a podcast, Jackie demonstrated how to convert one of them to where it didn't have to save the file. Like it used the screen clipping tool, but didn't save it as a file. But it's not so simple.
We will see. So here's the thing. Let me see if I could. I'm sharing my screen right now, and this is actually the code, and it is a good demonstration of the way how I personally would do this. Whenever I get a script that is from somebody else and I don't know how it works, then I would take a look at, grab the script, collapse it completely, and at least in VS Code, in other languages, in other editors, you might see this. You have an outline of the code, and you can see more or less the main functions out there. So probably I would know exactly what it does real quick. And to confirm what John was asking about, yes, it actually uses a bit64 string, and probably that is basically the binary data itself. So it either saves binary data or actually converts binary to a bitmap. So let's go ahead and take a look at something else. I noticed right away that it says like my altered GDI library, which would be at GDIP.AHK. Now, I'm not really sure if that's something that we needed, or probably he's just saying like point to whatever library you might.
I think you should edit it to put the link to your GDIP library.
Let's double check if I do have that. I think you do, exactly. I think you do have one. So let's go ahead and GDIP here. We could just add it to the main library here temporarily. What is this? Oh, cancel. Is that file not? Oh, sorry.
So here's a good lesson. You know, if you're using AutoHotkey, you're not used to the libraries. If you have it in like where AutoHotkey is
on the main, exactly.
on the LIB folder, it'll automatically, you know, look there for it.
I personally do not do that. I actually try to always kind of like have I'm actually kind of like, hold on, just that's because this thing is not working.
And I know for Isaiah, he's often sharing his code with a lot of other people or sending it out to clients or whoever, right?
Exactly. So that's the point. So basically, I want to be aware when something is being included in my file, and that's. But if you personally do personal code, like that's not an issue. You just go ahead, put it on AutoHotkey lib like this, and it should.
Well, you're putting it under your documents LIB folder, which is fine. There's three places that by default checks, right?
Yes.
And there's where the executable, the AutoHotkey executable is underneath there under LIB. this
Yes.
folder you're showing, and then the local lib folder
For the script itself, right? Exactly. But in general, I don't know why
There's an
it's
issue with
not-
this file. Huh?
No, it's just my bandwidth seems like for some reason I have been having issues downloading files recently, and let me restart it. So for some reason it was not my computer right now, and that's the reason why it was not working. But yeah, cancel. I don't know what my computer is acting a little bit strange at this point, but I'll just a minute.
It's because we're doing live.
Yeah, it had to be live, right? No, but let me see if my bandwidth right now, not even my Windows.
But here's the weird part, is like your Zoom to everything is great. So
yeah, that's
how it's saying your bandwidth.
no, and not even, and what I'm actually experiencing is this, like you see my my Explorer file. If I try to find stuff in here, it's not finding anything. So,
I typically, because I have a hotkey, you're gonna laugh because mine happens so much. I have a hotkey I can hit and it closes Explorer and relaunches it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do in a second.
Yeah, I need to
It is
reinstall.
funny. It is funny though. I've never experienced something like this. It had to be on the live call, right?
Right.
I wonder if it's an update, because my computer's been having the same issue all week with pretty much
really?
what you're having.
Oh, really?
So I wonder if something got a little messed up, because I know I had an update earlier this week. Also didn't have internet for 2 days. That sucked. That was so boring.
that is one of the biggest,
Comcast had a huge outage around this entire area for 2 days.
Oh, that is
It was terrible. Couldn't really watch TV or YouTube or anything.
nothing at all. Oh man.
So as while you're working on that, there was another question. Someone asked if it's possible to detect if Zoom is muted, and I would share my screen, and I can, but well, you're sharing your screen, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
let me stop sharing it.
Well, I can't.
Okay, no. Okay.
You can do it. It's fine. Do it, and then I'll just do the screen clipping, because it's I can't share my screen and share the Zoom window. At least not
Right.
easily.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what I can do is use my nifty screen clipping tool and bring it over. Right. So you guys can see this.
Yes.
So here's my toolbar where the mute is. When I was trying with the ACC tool, which is my first go-to on I would have tried the simple spy kind of tool looking for controls. I already know that doesn't work. I was hoping the ACC library would allow me to peek inside. It gets the entire window. It doesn't give me specifics. I happen to know, and Isaias, I know we just did a project for a client, right, on the API library, but I don't think we saw anything that had to do with actual detection of settings. Do you remember anything with that?
No.
Yeah, because
I do not remember. And probably if there is, it might be very likely on the paid version or something like that, because those are very advanced stuff. Actually, yes, there are. I remember an API that gave you the settings for a user, but I don't think.
But not a live setting.
Not the settings for the meeting. Is what
dynamic. Yeah. So what my simple way, which I don't love, would be to use a tool like automate my task to. I'm going to hit F1 and I'm going to look. So here's the thing muted, right? And I move away. Let's say display matches. Hopefully it didn't find it, which I do run into. So let's change this some. There it goes. It found it. And so searching for the image of the muted mic, if it's not muted, it wouldn't be there, but the muted mic will show up, right? And it's not perfect, but that's how I would probably solve this, because unfortunately, there's Zoom is really hard to peek inside.
Yeah, many commercial programs, not only are difficult to manipulate, but they actually actively look for ways to make it more difficult. Let me double check on something. I already have the GDI library.
Zoom is a what do you call those kind of apps? Electron or whatever. I can never remember the word.
Yeah,
But
I think it's a
basically
Chromium based.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and those are always a pain.
Yes, because
As soon as I
Chrome
see that,
itself,
I'm
it
like,
is-
oh, this is not going to work.
Yeah. So let me double check what this does. Let me see if this works. Control to capture icon. Okay. Okay. So it is working. Basically, if we have the include file commented out and the GDI library on your folder or next to the app, on the lib folder for the app, you should be good to go. And the main idea, what I wanted to check real quick is, let me double check here. It told me about a hotkey, and he was actually, well, we have the escape. Told me about the control. So what I wanted to double check was, what did he do with it? Okay. We have the pop-up window here. So here we go with the labels, capture screen. This is the one that I'm actually kind of interested in. And what he does, there it is. Okay. Yeah. So it looks like, again, he is using some GDI libraries to create binary files that later on he will be able to. Yeah, here we go.
Did you demonstrate the script yet?
No, not yet. I'm just going to open it now. So
let's let people have a clue of what it does. That's all. You know,
yes.
They haven't seen it.
So just a minute.
Incidentally, I used the inspect tool, you know, the UI automation approach instead of the ACC library. It actually identified the mute button on its own. So there is a possibility you could use the UI automation approach into automating to check to see if Zoom is muted or not. Just FYI.
Awesome. What the reason why I'm actually kind of like reading the code is that I'm looking for the hotkeys and I don't see any. So I remember that there's a way for you to kind of like switch the size of this, but I'm not really sure how.
It's after you capture
shift. No, with shift.
Okay.
Here we go. Arrow keys, use wheel to adjust precise position. But it's so slow. I think there's something else.
Hold down control and shift and try that.
I know that control actually goes ahead and captures the icon. So
I know he often has a second one to change the step rate.
Okay. Well, for now, I think the arrow keys for position and mouse wheel for size. Now, what it does is that it goes ahead and allows you to capture an image. So say, for example, I want to do restart Control-Shift F5 now. Okay, it's different. So it allows you to capture a specific image, and to do that, you just point, Control, you get the image, and now you can create an icon out of that image. So it could be anything you want. So basically, I could just go ahead and take this and create an icon out of that, which is amazingly good, because if I like that image and I want it for my program, then I could just go ahead and use this. Now,
the question is how to save this to a file.
Right. So you have a clipboard. It converts it into a base 64 string. When you click on that, you can go ahead and paste that on your script. There it is. And you can use it. Here we go, the icon, all of these little things. It gives you different sizes for the icon. And the part that I'm not really sure about, here we go. Here's the function that would go ahead and convert it into a, let's see, hold on. So clipboard, here's my function. So this bit 64 to bitmap is what the function that you would use to reference that on your script. So the input here would be one of the variables that we saw up here. So let's say if I want the 300 by 300 size, I just grab that one. I could even ditch the others, for example. So I could ditch all the other icons if I don't need them, right? And after that, oh, just 1 second. Oh no, so no, hold on. It is actually appending to it. So no, this one big chunk of data is one
file.
So
one variable.
One variable. So do not delete anything. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So basically, you have the whole file. That is binary data, so we could actually save that as a file, as a PNG file. Well, if it is not compressed. But now you have this B64 to bitmap function that would return a bitmap that maybe you can use it on this icon file here. You can use it on one of the functions that actually expects bitmaps. Like I assume the picture control can handle a bitmap. I think it can do that. So any function or any control that accepts a bitmap for a parameter, you can use it and it will read it as a file. Now, I haven't tested it myself.
Yeah. Is there a GDPI in the GDPI library? Is there a function that would take this bitmap stream and save it to a file?
I think so.
Yes, I think there should be.
Yeah, because my screen clipping tool, it leverages that and writes it to a file.
Right. So
you have a link to where this is to download?
Yes. Let me go ahead and give you the script.
I just want to share it on my channel because a lot of people seem to
be interested in that. So this is
cool.
Let me give you the link to the post itself, what the code is. So if I remember correctly, you could grab, copy this link. If I paste that, it should take me directly to that post, right? And that post, you just select all and copy. That's the script. So let me send it on Zoom real quick. Let me just a minute. I
was trying to talk Hellbent into doing a bit more videos. He's not right in the, you kind of get used to getting in the flow. And I was telling him how when I took a break for a while before, it is like you get out of the flow and it's just a process that once you get back in it, it's easy. But so
right. So now the program itself gives you some customization, right? It gives you adding a border, changing the size of it, and so on. You get the base 64. I think there are some functions that you can work with the base 64. And it has the function as well to convert it into a bitmap. I think it is really good, and you can find these really useful for many situations in which you need a really quick icon in your script. So if you know what you're doing, this is a really good function. If you don't, it doesn't have like a very big learning curve. It's easy to find out what you can do with this online.
And the script, I have a script that, because what I see is a lot of people have, 8 green H's in their system tray, right? Because they don't change the default icon for a script.
Yeah.
So I have an AutoHotkey script that creates a GUI that looks in 2 of the main DLL files and allows you from the Windows, DLL files to pick icons from those. But that's when I thought, hey, taking this functionality and adding it to it, to where you can say, hey, just give me that image there. Okay, now make an icon file out of that and save it for me as a file. And then it gives you the syntax to put it into your AutoHotkey code, right? To use the system tray icon, whatever, and just make that simple, because a lot of people don't update them, and it just takes a second, but you do have to have an icon that you want. And that's where I have, I don't know, maybe 500 icons that I usually select.
Now, the good thing about that one is that even if you do not, like, sometimes you find it hard to find an icon file, right, for your script.
Right.
But this one allows you to create one from basically anything. Like you like that image, okay, that's an icon right there. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I saw, wait, is captcha solving possible with HK? No.
Well, it depends. I've done it before.
Not, I mean, it depends on the captcha you're solving. Because
yeah. If it's just the one that says, "Are you a robot?" and you click the check mark,
I wouldn't consider that captcha personally. But anyway, I mean, I still understand your point.
Yeah, no. If you're doing like the pictures, like no.
Now there are APIs out there that you can connect to, and they have much more sophisticated AI that can try. So in that sense, you can connect to an API that possibly could do it, right? It's just directly. It's very. I mean, hell, half the time I can't solve the damn thing. You know.
Yeah.
It's
there it is, John. Yeah.
Yeah, Isaias, I found a function in a GDPI library that is GDPI save bitmap to file. So you pass the bitmap as parameter. So that's what is created by the function that you were showing us.
Exactly.
And then output is probably the path to the file. What format is it? A PNG? Is it a bitmap? We would have to take a closer look, but it's part of the pieces that we need if we want to create an icon file.
And if you look in,
and it's the extension that will determine the format. So if your path ends with PNG, it will be a PNG file. What I'm looking at.
Okay.
Every format is accepted: BMP, JPEG, etc.
That's awesome. And that's the point, as I mentioned, like finding the information for how to convert that into a file or something like that is not that hard to do once, because that is the GDI library itself, like that is something, or well, the GDI in general is something very old and very well known. So if people really need, you will find a lot of information for it online. And what I'm looking for right now is if that function, just 1 second.
Save bitmap.
Ah, here it is. Yep.
That's why I was saying in my screen clipping tool, it saves as, I think, a JPEG and a BMP. Do you remember, Isaias?
Yes, it does.
Automatically.
Yes. So basically, again, this is something that I would recommend for, if you are dealing with files or libraries that you are not familiar with, it is always a good idea. Where's my file? Okay. It's always a good idea to just go ahead and take a look at the outline of the script itself, because you will find a lot of information in there. Here we have kind of like an outline. You will find all the functions available and you can search for them, like save. And I have the save bitmap to file. I can just click on it and the script, the thing is going to jump to it. And I would basically have an idea of what it does really quickly. So having an outline is great for, getting to understand code that you have never seen in your life.
Can you help me understand something here? Because this is one thing that always just doesn't make sense to me. It says save bitmap to file, right? And one of the file formats is quote unquote a bitmap.
BMP.
Right? Yeah,
well,
right. That's not the same thing though, correct?
No. So the file that ends in BMP is a format in which to save a BMP file. So it's a format.
I think it is an uncompressed format.
Right. Exactly.
These are large files.
Now, here, the question in your, I would say, would be rephrased. Is a bitmap in memory the same format as the bitmap in a file?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot answer that question.
Maybe.
I think it is.
Maybe.
I think it is. Basically, it would grab whatever is in memory and dump it into a file. And if you put the .bmp extension on it, like Windows will know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I would assume that.
And the base 64 stream that we've seen in the previous script, the make icon script, it is a visual representation of this stream, something that is kind of encoded to be visible with number and letters, not in
binary zeros and ones.
No binaries character that you wouldn't see on screen, or be able to paste or to handle as text. Yeah.
Exactly. So basically you grab zeros and ones, think about it as the bitmap format is zeros and ones set in a specific format. It is in memory as a bitmap. Now, when you do the base 64, you encode those zeros and ones in a way that is actually letters, so that you can actually work with them.
Could we bypass the base 64 step in what we have in the IconStrip, so that when we get the image, instead of creating a bitmap, a B64 stream, we would directly save it using the GDPI function to save to a file?
I would assume so. So
again, my screen clipping tool, that's what it does, right?
So it doesn't create the base 64
because there's a lot of maybe extra steps that are not required if what we just want is to save the icon to a file.
Exactly. So it says here encode BMP to string. Let me see, where is it used? This is where he does it. So hold on, just 1 second. Go there. So this is where he does. So when he says clipboard base 64, this part here, you might change it to save. We could use the other function that we were talking about, save to bit.
Yeah. So main dot output bitmaps, what we add as a parameter in what. So this is the icon.
Right, exactly.
So instead of all this that is saving to the clipboard, we could just replace it with making a file, saving to a file.
Yeah, we could just go ahead and do this. Main.out p bitmap, I think that's how it is. And we would save it to PNG. I'm not sure.
No, what you give to it is a
quality.
First parameter is the path. Parameter is the full path.
The path. So let me see.
Ending by PNG if you wish to create a PNG file.
I'm sorry, because in here it says GDI save to bitmap file. It goes to it takes the pointer to the bitmap first, then the output file.
So and the output file extension will determine the format.
So I will have to put the whole path to the file.
Whole path to it.
Right?
Yeah.
So I could just go ahead and comment out all this code and just have it go ahead and save it into a file. Let's go ahead and make it a desktop and see what happens here. So I don't want anything like this. I just want to, let me see something. We have the file. And now I could just go ahead and run it.
Play and pray.
Exactly. Let's see what happens here. Because
it's live. What could possibly go wrong?
Like everything can go wrong. Everything can go wrong. So in general, let me see something. Let me check if I could. The only thing is the sizing of it, the steps with the mouse wheel, for me are really, really slow. I'm not really sure about it, but
in my case, I would use it with a fixed size of 64 per 64 square.
So 64, you mean,
but anyway, it's kind of would be hard.
This is right. Yeah. So now if I do this, it should actually go into a file, which is your desktop. Go ahead and verify now. There it is, and this file is actually. So basically, again, this is the many of the things that you see other programmers doing, like, oh my God, how they do that? It's basically tinkering. We just tested, it worked. Now I know how it goes. And modifying
the last part of it is to change to, instead of capturing a circle, to capture a square. I don't know if it's something you could find.
So let me see where that is.
I was wondering, because I like the square icons.
So control, at some point here we go. If he gets a control. Now, here's the thing. The reason why I'm looking for this is because, hold on, let me see something. Sorry, let me see the script itself. But hold on, when you say square, because it looks round to me, but,
but it captures a round. It doesn't capture the whole content of what you select when you select what you want to capture.
Let me see if I understand. So these red lines in there, that's what it's actually capturing, and it is creating some. Or no, you want it.
It's like cropping.
I want the full. I don't want the round cropping.
Exactly. Oh, right. Exactly. That's
it's adding like transparency.
Oh, and you can see right there. There's still the rectangle in the thing, right? The dimensions. You see the round, the square.
Yes. So you want the full square.
The full square. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because
So
it's
this-
doing like transparency.
with or without the border.
Highlighting, yeah.
So here's the thing. First of all, we do here where we set the draw bitmap. This is where it would grab whatever you are, you know, so whatever is on screen is going to be written. Now here we have our position, X and Y, width and height, dispose. Dispose what? So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing and see what it does a little bit. What does dispose mean? Okay, so we don't want the image itself after we draw it. And
maybe there's a cropping after this step.
let's find out if there's anything that has to do with cropping. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I found it. Crop icon. So we have here cropped icon.
Icon bitmap.
Here it is. So now let's take a look at how was this used, by the way. This is used. Yeah, so after we capture the screen, he creates the image and then he goes ahead and creates cropped.
So if you comment this
So-
line, maybe we'll get a square.
Well, I would lose.
If
I would,
we're
no.
still lucky,
So-
we're still lucky. We're so lucky today. So
No, but here's the problem. This actually creates the bitmap. So if I remove this, I will get no image whatsoever. Right.
Yeah.
So I have to change that or
so
change that function.
inside this function. Yeah.
Right. So probably we'll have to change something inside the function itself, because if I say, let's create a new window here, control, it looks like it's working, but
Yeah, it's working. Yeah.
hold on, let me see. Oh, but is that the whole thing? Let me see.
That's the whole thing.
All right. And I just don't need the circle now. Well, I don't need that.
Is there a circle? Okay, maybe there's the border is still circle, but we could remove the border and we would have the full image, the full square.
Or maybe
So the
create
border would have to be changed to being
square.
rectangle
Exactly,
instead of
exactly.
square instead of a
So
circle.
let me double check if that actually works. So let's copy that thing or save the file.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is a square icon now.
Yeah.
There you go. We are lucky.
We're
We
doing
are
good
really lucky.
progress. Yeah.
We are being
A good
really
day.
lucky. Yeah. So
Yeah,
here's
good
the
day.
thing.
Hopefully, Hellbent watches this
This
for
is
the
the
recommendations.
part. I would make it an option. So
We would have done
if
that in
round.
60 seconds.
So I would make that count optional. That's what I would do, because some people might want it as a round thing. Some people might not. Now we take a look at the let's find the
Yeah, the
what's it called?
border.
The border. So let's find out if we could be lucky enough. Border. So this is a
No, that's for the group.
handle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But that's what I'm going to try to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
if
yeah.
I could find where it
Adjust the
has-
slider.
Right, here we go. So this is when it says that the border is set. So this is where I go ahead and verify what he does. Here we go with the alpha, the color. Okay, find. Okay, and then create pen. Oh, this is going to be annoying. Ring width, draw ellipse. So maybe we can actually switch this. Instead of to draw an ellipse, we could go ahead and create a square though.
Yeah, I'll just check in the library, the
Right.
GDI library
I'm sure there is one, right?
for draw.
So let's
It's
go
a
ahead
big
and,
library.
so here we go. We go to the GDI draw. Let's go ahead and draw. And
Draw
we can-
rectangle. GDPI underscore draw rectangle.
Here we go. Right. So he had the ellipse, arc, pi, lines, and then we have the rectangle here. Let's double check if they're equivalent,
Yeah, same parameters.
because right, exactly. We have some things going on here between draw rectangle and draw ellipse. So both of them start with the P graphics. Both of them take
And
a
X,
pen.
Y, same
Yeah, so it's the
parameters.
same.
Yeah.
I just have to.
You would make an if
Here.
else.
Yeah, I would do it like later. If you wanted a square, then I would put, I would have an option for that, but let me see if it works first. There we go. So capture a new icon, get the width. Hold on, let me see. Now I have a square border.
Mm-hmm. Do you?
So again, yeah, I'm making
yeah, cool.
go. So, so basically, in a few seconds, we were able to change the code. We were lucky. We were really lucky.
We should write this date in our calendar so we remember that that day we were more lucky.
You know what? I should do all the examples because when I type it, I'm very lucky. Maybe that's
but you're very good at exploring code from someone else. So
and that's the point.
Congrats on that.
No. So here's the thing: it's not me; it's the tool. You have to have a tool that allows you, right? So no, if you have a tool that helps you do stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's also the code that the code is well written, so it's easy to find, and the function has the same parameters, so it helps playing with that. Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Remember,
but still, you are.
This is the thing. This is the thing. In general, this is a library that is a Windows library. So GDI Plus, you know, you can call it whenever you want. What they did is that they just simply added syntax sugar to it. And basically, the only thing that they did here was, depending on whether this is set or not, it just passes something to the DLL code.
Yeah, is it about 32 DLLs, or 64?
Right.
34-bit or 32 or 64.
Actually didn't put the code there. This is always going to return uPointer because he's just checking if that is set, and that variable is always set to 4 or 8.
And what is it exactly? Pointer size?
Is it
related to running in 64-bit or 32 bits? Is it related to that?
Yes, it is. So if it is 32-bit, it will be set to 4. And if you run it with 64-bit, it would be set to 8. So it is always set. And that's the reason why this code
in this case, it will always be.
Exactly. So basically, this code is not doing anything.
It's always true.
Yeah. The point is that he was trying to start checking for whether it's 64 or not. And he just put this code as placeholder. So that is something that it doesn't matter at the moment. But in general, what I'm trying to say is this is a DLL call that you can do yourself all the time.
Anywhere in your script.
You do not need the library itself to do this. You just have to do the DLL calls of whatever you need. So editing code is made easier when certain things are there. What is it that should be there? First, the code, you have tools that allow you to read the code quicker. And the person who created the code made it in a way that is consistent. Consistent. Yeah, if it is consistent is what I'm trying to say. Because now I can just make a little if statement here that says, if round icon, if use round icon, right? Then I would just do something like, sorry, let me get this part here and just put it down here and just go down a little bit here, right? So if it is a round icon, sorry. Oh, hold on. Did I just, oh, sorry. I was just stupid. Where is it? Draw ellipse. I just didn't copy the name. I had it both the same. So one of them is an ellipse. The other one is a rectangle. And so if is round, it would be that, else just use this. Now, quick tip for people who are programming. The reason why everything looks so weird right now is because he tried to align code with tabs. That is not a good idea.
I don't like it.
No, that is not a good idea. So whenever you're aligning code, what you would use instead is actually spaces. So that in case that your code gets copied somewhere else, the spaces are going to remain always the same. I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. So he wanted to align all of this to probably this comma here. I have an extension that does that for me. This is probably what he was looking at. And still, I wouldn't find it as a good alignment there. It is a little bit difficult to read, right? But probably that's
it's
what
a matter of preference. Matter of preferences.
Yeah, that's how he codes.
And how your editor is doing the indentation. My editor is doing indentation of 2 only, so my indentation are quite compact.
Right. Now, here's the thing. There's one reason why you might want to do what he's doing. The point here is that he can comment a line really quickly. So probably he had this parameter here. He wanted to put different options, probably because he was testing something, and he would comment this one out and then put this one in.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So maybe that's the reason. When you have like one line for functions, you cannot comment stuff very easily. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why he might be doing this.
And you could add comment at the end of each parameter on each line if you want to give information about each parameter. Yeah.
But the only thing is, what I want to tell you is, if you're going to align your code, do not use tabs, use spaces, because that way, if I copy it to another, if I change the tab size, as you said, like something more compact, I do not lose the alignment here. Yeah. You see that?
Inside, there's an option that will convert tabs to space. Many editors have this option.
Yes. So in this case, notice that here on top, everything is kind of like aligned, and he was doing something very similar. But if I change the tab size to 4, so if I change the tab size to 4, the indentation, look, that now it is a little bit more close to what he had. But that's the reason why you wouldn't align code using tabs. You would do it with spaces, so that it doesn't matter how many tabs, the tab size I have, your code would remain aligned. Here on the top, it hasn't changed. It doesn't matter what indentation I have, but here at the bottom, it actually moves right or left. That's not a good idea.
Yeah, I always code with tab first, just because it's faster than typing 4 spaces or what. But then, like John was saying at the end, Notepad, it's Control H, and you just say replace all tabs with 4 spaces or whatever.
But is there an option in Notepad++ where if you press tab, it will insert spaces instead of
do it like character right away?
Yeah, so that way it's easy to enter tab with spaces, but with only one key.
Or basically use extensions that align code for you. You just select the code, select where you want to align it, press a hotkey, and now everything is aligned with spaces. And that's the main idea, that it should be done like that automatically for you. And
that's
now
VS
your code is
doing
good.
that. Yeah.
Well, not only that, it is an extension in VS Code, but that means that in your editor, there might be an extension for aligning, for aligning code. If you search for that, you might be able to find one for you. But yeah, now we have a nice little if statement here that is going to be false automatically, because I do not have that option. So as I haven't included that option,
we have to add something to the GUI.
Yeah, so I'm going to add that, but it is going to be false by default. And that means that my code is still going to draw stuff, right? So it's still going to work, but it is just going to do it automatically for something.
And earlier you used the variable round instead of round icon when we did, the before
the other one. Okay, yeah. So
when we did
the other code.
Yeah, you're just there, line 228.
So let's go to 228. Round
icon.
So this is for creating
a future checkbox for a future checkbox in the GUI.
That's it. And basically modifying stuff like this is not that hard. Once you get the hang of it, you know where to look for. And actually here, the clipboard base, instead of doing that, I would actually I would just
a copy.
Yeah, I would actually leave that, and I would have kind of like a save button, save to file. 64, I think it was like base 64. Oh no, that was actually to a file itself. So that would be kind of like another thing that I would modify on my GUI. I would have a button that here we have the buttons. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Clipboard, and I would have a different button that would go to save file, I think it is. Save to file. And I'm looking at my outline here to see the label that I said just a second ago. So that's the G label. Save to file. That would add a button. I will take a look at the GUI, how it would look like. Actually, why isn't it? Oh yeah, because of the XM. That's that. I hope that he does not have a specific size for the GUI. That means that whenever I add stuff, it would just resize to it. Now I have a save to file button, a clipboard button. They both perform stuff differently. And here where it says add border, I would have another checkbox right next to it. So the border here, where is it? Was one of the first things. Here we go. So that checkbox, I could just make it +5. It is also on the same location. Round icon maybe. And this is going to be checked. Handle is going to be handle. And main checkbox handle. I would say main round checkbox handle. I would take it, and wherever I found that, which was, let's hold on, I'll check on something. Sorry, this one stays the same. And let me see where I found that. Here, oh, so you see where we got the GUI control get. Whenever I am referring to the round icon here, then we could just create a control get statement for my main object in this case, because it was not passed by somebody, my main object, and I would get the round icon, was it that I said?
Yes,
right. Round checkbox. So round checkbox. So that should give me that, and I would make it the same as my icon. Sorry, my if statement down here. So again, I'm just going to get the value of that checkbox and store it in round icon. And now my if statement should be working. And I have another round icon statement somewhere. Let me go ahead and find it. Here it is. And I already have my control get check. That's for this. And I do need the second one for the round icon. And this time it is in the object because we passed it to, there you go. So with this code, I should have two checkboxes here. If it is round, let me verify what happens there. Okay, we do have a round icon here. Now something interesting is happening with the
border.
with the border, right? So it is interesting that it is taking the position of the border. So I would switch those two buttons up to see what happens. But now if I select, look at that. That is
yeah, you would have to capture again.
Right, but
it will change the border.
Right, the border, yeah. So I could capture a different window. There you go. So now we have a totally working script that we just.
Hey, Hellben's watching, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Now let's go ahead and take a look. If he can actually just tell me about this add border. Why does the add border position is being, thrown off in there? Let me see if just moving these two around might help a little bit. Oh, maybe the X+5? Huh, I don't think so. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So XM here and X+5 here. Let's see what happens there. So I'm going to capture something up. Nope. So just by me adding it, let me see if that's the point. So if adding, I don't really think that's the case. I modified something without noticing. Oh no, so adding a new button actually.
Maybe it's the number of the control that is used somewhere else to add the border to the image.
Hold on, let me double check on something. So now that I know that that's not the issue, let's go ahead and take a look at what is going on and how am I. So basically, let me find this thing here. I do get a checkbox here, and this is where it goes ahead and checks the ring, right?
By the way.
Oh, that's awesome. So here, control get width. It's okay. It creates a pen for that width. But hold on, let me see. This is for. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I want to. Just a minute. Let's go ahead and take a look at when it is happening. That's the thing. Hey.
Hello, Elband.
So after, yeah, when we capture the script. So that's when we capture the icon. I'm just, botching it. I mean, just changing stuff in here without your permission.
And doing it live.
I just joined the stream and just recognized it.
After he's like, oh, my ears are burning.
Ooh. If you have any questions in here, there's a few things that might seem a little bit weird, and they're weird to me too. Like there was a small little problem with the sizing, like when you add a ring afterwards when it saves it. The way I compensate it was to add something where it ends up messing it up if you end up going bigger. So like the ring size where it gets positioned and cut might seem a little bit weird if you go into that.
Okay, so basically, let me double check something. Let me show you what. Let's fix this one first, and then we go into that. Because here's the thing: I'm using the add border function, right? Mm-hmm. But you notice the positioning here in the preview. This positioning, where is that code handled? Because just by adding a new button, I just added a new checkbox here. It just went ahead and.
I think I can't remember how I'm doing. Okay? How am I drawing? Am I drawing right to a control, or am I drawing to a window, or where's my?
You know what? Let me do this. Whenever
I think it's a control, right?
It looks like control, and this is what I'm going to check right now. So for those watching, if you see that there's actions performed when you click or something, there is a function that is doing that. That positioning is set in that function. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take a look at that button first. Let me go ahead and take a look at the check mark itself. And then we have this adjust slider function, which we could go ahead and find. There it is. Well, it is a label, and this is the one that is setting off the location. So I'm going to place a break here. Let's restart.
Okay, so yeah, I'm using set image. So there is a picture control that is, or a text control.
Okay. Okay. So basically, what I'm trying to look for is where do you get the value positions for that control? So right now I have 60. That's width and height.
So if you look at probably where I created the control, it probably has a object associated with it. So if I add a picture, it probably has an object immediately created. So if you go to where the GUI is created,
let's go ahead and do that. So the GUI is created up here.
And there usually I'll have like an object that
manages here main.
Okay, so I just have a handle.
Yes, you do have the handle for that slider, and that's
so I probably have some default size then. So above this, there'll probably be a variable that has a default size.
Allow me just 1 second. So let me comment this code out, right? So by adding the border here, notice that the border. Okay, hold on. Let me comment this out. Let's put this like this. So notice that the border is placed right in this location, and the X and Y location, particularly the Y location is the one that I'm interested in. Because
It's probably 0. It's probably 0 or 1.
0, 1. Okay, but how is that actually affected when I add a new control? Because what I'm doing is I'm adding a new control, and now for some reason, where's my checkbox? Oh, right, because this here has to be X plus 5. Now, as soon as I add a second checkbox, now what happens is that the location, the Y location for the border is modified. And that's something that for me, I'm not sure how what has that to do if I haven't changed the Y position in any ways, you know what I mean?
Well, I can't tell you. I don't know exactly what your end goal here is because I just joined, right? But one of the things that I would have changed from the beginning is when you capture the image, it should capture a little bit of border around it. And then afterwards, it should crop an inner part of the window. And then when you display it, it should have that same padding.
Okay.
And what we've done before is we just bypass the cropping when we do a rectangle, a square instead of a circle.
Right. So let's go ahead and get that first. So I did a little bit of a modification here in which if you have a round icon, it would create the cropped image for it. If you don't, then it would make the square image of it. So basically, let me remove this, and you will notice that when I capture something, it would be a square icon instead. That's the idea behind it. So it is very simple what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the square border is working perfectly fine. The problem is when I have a round icon. So now if I go ahead and capture again, so let's go ahead and capture a new icon. I do get my round icon, but the border positioning.
Okay, so for some reason your position is getting adjusted because it should be drawing at 0, 0 inside of it, and that's obviously not drawing at 0, 0 in it.
Exactly. Right? So when you're saying that it is drawing it here,
like there's a bitmap, there's a bitmap and a control that has the same size as the bitmap, right? When you draw the circle, it's supposed to be in the top left corner. Start in the top left corner. And then
so my X and Y location might be, so
should be 0, should be 0. They should be 0.
Okay, so let's see what happened there. So,
or rather though, yeah, sorry.
Let me double check what is going on when I go ahead and do this. So I stopped here and my main X and Y might be the positioning of the GUI itself, right?
So there's two things. There's the bitmap that you capture from the screen, which has its own X and Y position, and then you draw it onto a new bitmap but you draw the one that you capture from the screen at 0, 0 on the new one. I think,
and this is the thing. I do not have any issues with the capturing of it because after I capture it and I save it, for example, I added this save to file option.
It just looks like you're drawing your circle at an offset.
Yeah, it looks like that. And I'm noticing that you're using the draw image here with the main object. So this main object has an offset for some reason at some point. Let me see, hold on.
No, it's 0, 0.
It is at 0, 0, but
yeah,
the width and height might change, looks like. So let's take a look at the difference between width and height between this one here. So yep, here we go. So the width and height for this one is 60 and 60. Okay, 0, 0. What else? That should be good, right? And if I do not have this, if I do not have a round icon, what would that be? Would that be 60, 60 as well? Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
So I do not see any place in here with the 0, the X and Y positioning.
Where are you filling? Where's your fill circle? Fill ellipse.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Fill ellipse. Fill. This is the one that is filling. Oh, create crop bitmap.
Tutorial on debugging for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here we do have some main position width and height. Let me double check on something. Let me see what happens when I go ahead. And again, notice that I just place a breakpoint. My script is still running. I just place a breakpoint in different locations. I should be good to go. So let me remove this one here. Capture new icon. Create crop. Where am I using that?
It's not executed because we bypass it because
exactly.
it's not around. So there's probably something in the
bypassed.
cropping that is required even if it is a rectangle.
Exactly. So now here's the deal. If it is round, the main positioning. So let's go ahead and do this.
I would suggest that we pass the round as a parameter to create crop icon bitmap and then execute only what is required if it is round or not.
Right. So, and that's the part that
inside
I need to
create crop icon.
Yes.
Because,
so I have to modify this guy here.
Yeah.
Now here's the part we have to verify if, or I could just get the value from here.
Yeah, you could also get it there. Yeah.
And then we just go ahead and verify. This is for the ellipse. So this is the part that creates either, sorry, this is the part that I should modify because I do not want an ellipse. I want a square. So let's go ahead and take a look at the GDI. Fill rectangle is the one that I need, right? So probably fill ellipse if it is round, rectangle if it is not round. That's what I would say. So, ooh. Actually, my fingers are doing stuff today. So if I can, round icon, I'd say.
Round.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
I would do this, else I would do, I'm sorry, that. So now I just have to get the value for round icon, which I got it from here. Got it here. Do I need it in this location anymore? I'm going to check. No, I do not need it. So I could just cut it. And we don't need this any longer. This is going to be there. Now let's go back to you and let's just get the info that we need. So now, if it is round, yeah. Okay, so this is working. It is. The problem is the location of the border. So now this is the part.
Could you try, Isaias, if you just reverse the order of the checkboxes, because it's related to the fact that you insert a checkbox.
Yeah, it is kind of like
and
about
if you just,
the location.
Yeah,
right.
just reverse the position of, just to see if.
So basically, no, I tried it a few minutes ago, and I got the same thing. So again, it does that if there is a second.
If there are two,
which makes no sense to me because I'm not really sure how they're related, though. So let me see.
They're cousins.
They're cousins, right? So adding the border here, like removing the checkbox.
Yeah, it is square by default.
Right. Now, but that is interesting how adding a new control modifies the Y position on, and let me double check something. Instead of adding it right next to it, what happens if I added?
You put it at the bottom.
Below it, right? Let me just do this.
Well, okay, so the position of the controls, does that get changed? No, I guess it doesn't get changed.
No, so that's it is very interesting, and the square one works fine. So square works fine. It's the round one that is having issues. So, and it is when it is set. So there is part of my code when the checkbox is set, like when the round checkbox is set, let's go ahead and double check on that.
I mean, it seems kind of like a hackery way. What if you just change the variable back to 0? Just create a variable that equals 0, whatever it's called.
I'm sorry, let me double check. Maybe, so hold on, let me double check on something. When do I get the issue? So I think here's where the issue is. No, but
Do
I do not.
Do you have a quick way of posting your code to me?
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and do this. Just so GitHub. I think we have a new gist around. Quick icons update. There's going to be a public gist. Do I need anything else?
I don't know. Just
Um,
post me the link
Yeah, here we go. I'm going to share it via Zoom.
in the chat. Put it in
Yeah.
the chat. Yeah.
The only thing that we're trying to solve right now, because everything else looks fine except for saving to a file, because I probably didn't set the thing correctly here. So let me fix that first. Save to file. I added a button that said save to file. And that, yeah, I know what happened. Oh, no, I do have it here. So let's take a look at what happened here. When I click on save to file, yeah, it does get called. So why didn't it work? We're gonna capture a new window. I have it.
Try saving it with this offset circle just to see if it will be.
That's what I was
also-
trying to do. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Maybe it's
for
only
some
a GUI
reason,
issue.
For some reason, no. But look at that; it is not saving that.
Not
But
at all. Okay.
No. But let me double check something. So if it is like this, does it? Yeah, the square one gets saved. So there's something with the bitmap itself. So the save to file is working. When it has this offset, I cannot even save the file either. And that is interesting to me. I'm not really sure how that got, like, that bug got introduced, but that's the issue. When you have code that is not yours, you have to try to first understand
I suggest
it.
that we review the.
I
suggest that we review the video tomorrow and we will find it.
Yeah, we will find it like very easily, right? Like, oh,
that's
this one comma here.
At 26 minutes 30 seconds, he introduced the bug.
Right, exactly. But in general, here's the thing. For now, we saw how quickly you can modify code. And so long as you understand more or less where to find the stuff or where to make the change.
Yep.
Very detailed, simple changes as we are doing, they're going to be very quick to, add optional stuff to an existing script. It's not that hard. The hard part is when you find these types of bugs because you don't understand how the script works. So right now, the only part that I'm trying to figure out is where in the code.
Where is it drawing the ring at? The border of the ring? What line is that at?
So
I forget what it was called.
Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Draw or ring. I think it was ring. Here, draw ring. Here we go. And this one, no, that's where it's defined, but this is where it's used. It is used in 203. And where else? Hold on, 203 and in 292. Those are the two positioning. And that's the thing. So usually it is sending this object master G. Now, the question is if that already contains the X and Y positioning of
at 0. Yeah.
Right. And I see here where it says draw image that we pass it as 0, but draw ring in particular, I thought that converting draw ellipse to rectangle would have solved the issue right away. But it seems to be that there's something that I'm missing here. So quick thing. You know what? I think I know. It is exactly as you mentioned. At some point during the video, we introduced the bug and I didn't know where, right? Remember that I was showing that you could comment lines or switch lines really quickly? I added the one with 5 points here and I commented out the one with the 1. So I introduced the bug not that long ago.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and verify what happened here. Let's see if that fixes it. That would be funny. That would be so funny. There you go. So I introduced a small bug by switching code. And it seems to be that he was testing something with those.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you about. I don't know if am I on mic. That's what I was telling you about. When I noticed that when it sized up, like when you add the border, it wouldn't fit right. So I was tweaking around with some things to get it to look a little bit nicer. And I don't know, I solved part of it, but if you upsize, if you have a border and then you upsize, the border size gets a little bit gets scaled at the wrong rate.
Okay, let's double check what. So let me reproduce the bug. Hold on, let me just 1 second. What did it do now? What did I do now?
Like I said, though, also ultimately you'd want to have like a little bit of a padding.
Right. So
I know. Is my mic open? Yes. I noticed that for the square border, it was not exactly the same size on
That's because
each
there's no
side.
padding. Because there's no padding.
That's probably that. So that's something that would need to be tweaked to have a perfect border around the square.
Okay. So just reload this.
You can also just draw the border 1 pixel wider and 1 pixel taller.
Just 1 second. So what you're saying is that when I'm capturing, if I go ahead and
I think it's if you take that at 5 pixels.
Okay, so hold on, 5 here, right? I need to adjust the steps to be a little bit. So hold on, I could do it here. Nope, I cannot do it there.
No, it's a shift. Hold shift. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but it is very, oh, so I could set a specific size, and when I do shift,
and then
it jumps to it. Yeah, okay, that's good. Because the thing is that with the wheel, it was very slow. But
slow.
no,
it's slow. It can be jumped up to 10. It should probably go up by 10. But I like. Right. I want.
No, but that's good because that's good for precision, right? But
yeah, and I don't know if you know. I don't know if you're aware, but you can also use your arrow keys right now too, and shift with your arrow keys.
Shift, but that's for adjusting position. Okay, cool. But what I'm going to do is that probably add Alt to do the same stepping, but at a 10% at a higher interval.
Yeah,
but that's good.
That's what I usually do. That's what I usually do.
Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to jump to whatever I want. You say that if it is a very big pixel rate like that,
well, you make it take something small and then expand it out, and you'll see that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get
right.
Okay,
the border doesn't get scaled.
At 5, you said, right? So let's go ahead and get this here. Of course. Well, yeah, it is actually.
Now stretch it out. Now make it bigger. Now make it bigger.
Yep. So let's make it bigger.
There you go. See the white? You shouldn't see that white.
All right. So this white in here is what you're referring to.
Yes. Yes.
So that means that there's a padding going on in there. So whenever you capture the image, but that is interesting. There wouldn't be no padding because you.
Just a reminder, we got about 4 minutes left.
No, it's because it's because
when you're scaling.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But right now, when you take the screenshot, it's adjusting. It tries to adjust the size of that padding so that way it fits the border properly. But then it doesn't work when you upscale.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna post this code on a gist so that it is kind of like available for everybody. I will do some modifications.
You can post
as well.
it right in the thread, right?
Yeah, I will exactly. So, but I mean the updated one, because the one that I posted was with the bug. I will also make a little change later on to allow you to type the pixels, maybe. I don't know why you chose not to type it. Instead of an edit control, you actually selected pre-selected some. But in any case, I would just
could
post those changes.
Yeah. And before, maybe Isaiah, just could you check if you do a square border, if it is?
So let me take a
yeah. So it looks
border.
like it looks good, but at some point earlier, I was under the impression that the width of the border was not equal on the four sides, but it looks nice now. That's good.
Yeah. Notice that when I'm let me see if that happens with. Look at that. With the square one, we do not get the issue that he was referring to. Probably that is because of the alpha channel that you set up. So you remember that when you go ahead and capture here, so capture in window, here, when you do the cropping, there is an alpha thing going on in there. But notice, oh, look, that only happens when you capture small first. So yeah. Well, those are little details. Yeah, so when you upscale something that it was small, let me try with the square one again. So
that is possible to fix, though. It is possible to fix that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let me capture small. Oh yeah, so you have the same issue. Yeah. So it's best to capture a higher image and then scale down until that is actually fixed. Right. So just capture at 300, you get, well, the problem is that that's too big. Now, so depending on what you want to capture is how you want to.
Generally speaking, you will always want to capture a big, image, right? I mean, that's better.
Yeah. I'm also going to make it so that whenever you do this, probably this gets updated as well. So when you update this, I do not have to press the shift maybe. So I could update the size real time in there, just capture what I need, update it to what I'm expecting. And I have the border, I have that, capture, save to file. Let me see if that's working. Yep, now it's working. The rectangular one, sorry, the circle one is also being saved. And probably we should have an option to save a specific type of file. So when you click on save to file, it would ask you the extension. Probably that would be something that I would add prior to this.
A dialog box to select the location.
Right, exactly, exactly.
And by the extension, you set the format. Yeah.
Right. So let me just.
Isaiah, you always impress me. And Elban, thank you for the script.
No, this one is really actually I like that.
Yeah, I needed something like this. So it's not like all flushed out and everything. It's not like a like something that I would normally release or whatever. I just needed a tool to do this, and I figured other people would find it useful too. So
yeah,
kind of like what Joe was saying with having 20 to 50 icons on your desktop that are all the green H.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a way to make that a little easier and faster.
Yeah.
And I'll make maybe a stripped down version of this to be used in quick access pop-up. And when you want to create an icon, it will just be more integrated, saving it at the location where quick access pop-up save its icons and making it 64 by 64 because that's the width that is by default but it's a very cool tool. Thank you.
So there you go. I have, if it doesn't have a file, it would actually message like, you have to specify a file location. And if not, it would just go ahead and save it. I assume that this would save the file that I just created. Where did I put it? There we go. So that didn't work for some reason. So in the desktop test.png. I am passing like the whole thing, right? The test.png. I am passing the location. What is wrong with you? It was just right now working. And the main object has the output bitmap. Where is it? You see?
And you can create all kinds of different shapes that you want.
Oh,
All
look
it
at
is
that.
Just
Out P bitmap is empty. Oh, that's why. I'm sorry?
John, if you have, you can make different shapes too. So right now you can make a circle out of it, but if you filled like a rounded rectangle or whatever, it just uses a screen and, so whatever you fill over top, it'll remove that, or it'll keep that part of the image. So you can have a heart shape, diamond shape, whatever shape you want, right?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Say it's about time to wrap up, guys.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So I was just testing this out. It is saving the file. You have to capture first. So if you haven't captured, I will make a message box. Yeah, that's it. And I'm going to save this code to the link that I'm going to provide. Probably Joe, you can send it, or you guys
I
can
said we'll put it on the Automator.
Exactly. Okay. Awesome.
Cool.
Great.
We'll just go there in a little bit. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Don't forget AutoHotkeyCon not next week, August 6th and 7th.
There you go. It's true.
I meant this year. All right.
See you next week.